To join in the Rugby League conversation, go to rlfans.com/forums and sign up today. Hello everyone, my name is Rob, welcome to Kinetic Rugby League and welcome to the Super League Review Round 3. In this video I'll be showing you highlights from the 6 matches from the latest round of Super League, as well as going over some of the talking points and stats. So let's get started. The 6 matches we'll be covering in this video include Warrington Wolves vs Salford Red Devils, Catalans Dragons vs Hull FC, Wakefield Trinity vs Huddersfield Giants, Castleford Tigers vs Wigan Warriors, Hull Kingston Rovers vs Leigh Leopards, and St Helens vs Leeds Rhinos. Kicking things off, we have Warrington Wolves at home versus Salford Red Devils.
Warrington building ahead of steam here with Williams. Lovely inside pass, picked up by Stephen Ratchford.
You know, you do things like that when you're full of confidence.
2 games, that's the coach speaking. Another little kick through, chase on for Curry! And Ben Curry may well have won the race. No need, I don't think. Wow, well, there is going to be a need. We think Curry's by the video ref, Liam Moore.
Ollie Partington does well there to escape form.
Yeah, good opportunity for Laffey, and now Burgess has got some room. He's got some space. He's got some support. Is it going to be a try? And it's a superb try for Ellis Longstaff.
Play on 75. That's okay.
Opportunity, mate. Oh, it's intercepted. It is intercepted. What a pick-off there by Theo. No, this is going to be a sensational try for Ryan Briley. He goes the distance. Salford go the distance. Fantastic score. And this is an opportunity for Sneed. He opened up for Mark Sneed. He saw the gap. First chance to attack. Williams with a long looping pass out for Matty Ashton. And if he scored, that's a magnificent try. It's a leap, it's a jump, and he bangs the ball down. But has he managed to stay in the field of play?
Still in the air. Ball's grounded. Thank you. I made my decision.
Well, they needed it, didn't they? If this goes right, yes, it does. And here we go.
Well, chance now, but Townsend's got support. Ball inside. Drinkwater brought down. Walker again.
Yeah, it's gone from back to worse.
It's going to be in the Sinden. Yeah.
Well, this is a massive 10 minutes for us now.
It's going to make no difference at all whether he's a fullback or not. Because Thomas...
Still hands on the ball there, and I can see it touch the line. Thank you. I made my decision.
Another try for Warrington. Still got around 5 minutes to go in the sin bin, and here they come again with Curry, and Ratford with the ball out to Ashton. Cuts inside. Can he find some space? Matty Ashton, brilliant offload again. Williams, charge to the corner. Hughes with the try. What a brilliant Warrington Wolves try. Josh Stewlis. Well, incredible, he's missed the conversion.
Right, okay.
But there it is. Oh, and there's Williams through again. Williams with a try. He's been outstanding this season. Try scorer tonight, Thomas McKaylee. Walker switches it again. Matantia offload, and there is the try. The Matt Duffy.
It's an 8-point try.
It is an 8-point try. It's another 8-point try. He caught him, but 8-point try, I'm not sure. It's all about opinion, isn't it?
Well,
the only opinion that matters is that of the video referee and the referee.
Starting with the losing team, which was Salford Red Devils, they had 40% possession, 3 tries, 3 conversions, 1 penalty kick, 4 turnovers, 10 penalties conceded, and a sin bin. Their spine included Ryan Briley, Mark Sneed, Brodie Croft and Andy Ackers. Their tries came from Mark Sneed, Ryan Briley and Ellis Longstaff, and all their goals came from Mark Sneed with 4. Top stats, Ken Seo had 141 metres, Ryan Briley had 13 metres per carry, Tyler Dupree had 6 tackle busts, and Oliver Partington had 41 tackles. I would say that when it came to the sin bin for Salford, that act in itself was harsh. It didn't feel like a professional foul the same way that others have done in the past, where it's just completely holding down. Really didn't feel like there was much interference, to be honest. At worst, it would just be a penalty, but the reason why I believe it was a sin bin was because it just kind of built up. There was too many recurring penalties, and it just built up too much, so it had to be time for someone. With it being that in particular, I felt it was a bit harsh, but not much Warrington could have done about it, unfortunately. But in attack, Salford looked extremely dangerous. Whenever they got the ball, it kind of felt like, any moment this will be it. They're just going to break through the line. And, I mean, Mark Sneed's try was a clear example of that. They just had so much pace, and Warrington were not dealing with it. So, Salford look really, really dangerous. And I will say, though, a lot of people saying that the penalty tries and the sin bin won Warrington the game. They conceded. If you take away the points that Warrington scored in the 10 minutes of the sin bin, and you take the 30 minutes where it was 13 versus 13, Salford lost the second half 12-0, and they were up by 14 at half time. So in 30 minutes, they were then 2 points behind, and in those 10 minutes, anything else could have happened. So defensively and in attack, not good enough from Salford in the second half for 30 minutes. So you got to consider that as well. But they do look really, really strong, and I'm sure they'll bounce back next week. Moving on to the winning team, the Warrington Wolves, they had 60% possession, 6 tries, 4 conversions, 2 penalty kicks, 8 turnovers, and 5 penalties conceded. Their spine included Matt Duffy, George Williams, Josh Drinkwater, and Darryl Clark. Try scorers were Matt Duffy, Ben Curry, George Williams, Josh Thulis, Thomas McKaylee, and Matty Ashton, and all their goals came from Stephen Ratchford with 6. Man of the match is definitely, without a shadow of a doubt, going to go to George Williams for this match. 180 metres, which was first, 2 clean breaks, tied first, 11 tackle busts, first, 3 assists, and a try as well. Extremely strong performance from him. Honourable mention is going to go to Darryl Clark. 131 metres, second best, 9 metres per carry, tied first, 5 tackle busts, number 4, 34 tackles, first for Warrington, and 3 offloads, which was tied first. He had a really good game through the middle for Warrington. As I said, they won the second half 12-0. They started out the game really, really well, and they put a lot of pressure on Salford. Looked like they could have got some more points out of it, but that interception really kind of turned the tide of the game, and it just felt like they couldn't really get back into it in that first half. But when they started the second half, they came out with a try in about 3 minutes with Matty Ashton down the left corner. So they really showed their intensity in the second half. They fought back, and again, nothing that they could do about the sin bin, nothing they could do about the penalty tries. You take the points when they're given, you take the sin bins, the red cards when they're given, so you just have to get on with it. But they did play really well in the moments where they scored the points. And some teams don't manage to put up that many points when they're a man up. Some teams struggle. This Warrington team last year struggled against teams that they were a man up against. They often conceded points to teams that they were a man up against. So to see the change is definitely a positive sign. But yeah, a strong second half from Warrington. Great start at the start of the game. Strong second half, but they really need to work on defence, because teams like Wigan, who are just as fast as Salford, if not quicker, and a bit more skillful, are just going to absolutely tear them apart. So things still to work on, but a great start, 3 out of 3. Next up, we have Catalans Dragons at home versus Hull FC. Starting with the losing team, Hull FC. Their spine included Tex Hoy, Ben McNamara, Jake Clifford and Brad Dwyer. Their try scorer was Andre Savelio and their goal came from Jake Clifford. Top stats, Liggy Sow had 95 metres. Sow and Sutcliffe shared 8 metres per carry each. Andre Savelio had 6 tackle busts and Brad Fash had 48 tackles. For Hull FC, it looked like they were constantly outnumbered out wide. They just could not get the numbers across. It didn't exactly look sloppy, though, in defence, because what I liked about them is there was always someone there working hard, willing to put the body on the line to make the last-ditch tackle. So, in terms of execution, it wasn't great, but their effort to at least try and stop them on every single try that the Dragons opened them up on, it was good to see that intensity to try and stop them with a last-ditch tackle. Obviously, it's going to be difficult. If it's one-on-one against a player with momentum, 9 times out of 10, you're not going to be able to stop them. You might get a lucky held-up tackle here or there. But I didn't expect this from Hull FC. I thought they were better than this, especially in terms of points that they could put on the board. In terms of points conceded, it's not overtly surprising, given that they did let a couple tries slip against Leeds and they conceded so many points against Castleford. But definitely things to work on. A bit of a setback for them. They probably didn't expect this themselves. But sometimes it's good for a team that's still trying to build to take these kinds of losses so you pay more attention to the things that you really need to work on. So, yeah, very strange result. Definitely wasn't expecting this, but could be a positive for Hull in the long run. Moving on to the Catalans Dragons, their spine included Artur Morg, Tyrone May, Cesar Rouge and Michael McAlorum. Their tries came from Benjamin Garcia, Adam Kieran, Siasiwa Takiyaho, Michael Gudamon, Paul Seguier and Tom Johnston. Their goals came from Adam Kieran, who had 7. Man of the match, definitely going to be Benjamin Garcia. He had 135 metres, which was tied second, 8 metres per carry, tied fourth, 10 tackle busts first, 34 tackles second, and a try on top of it as well. Honourable mentions going to go to Tyrone May. He had 21 carries, which was second best, 19 tackles, tied 6th, 3 tackle busts, tied 4th, and 2 assists on top of it as well. And to be fair, this was his first game, I believe. I don't think he was part of the squad for round 1 and 2. So to come back in, first game of the season against teams that have had time to basically warm up, and against a team like Hull FC that's been fairly strong until now, having that time off and coming back with those kind of stats and 2 assists on top of it as well, making an instant impact is really solid. So definitely an honourable mention there. I did not expect this from Catalans. Based on how they looked in round 1 and round 2, looked a little bit up and down, looked like they knew how to connect, especially with Cesar Rouge and Artur Morg. I like what they've been doing. But it didn't feel like they had they packed enough punch to be able to do this, especially against a team like Hull at the moment. Defensively, I know that they're solid, but this was just completely unexpected. But I'm definitely looking at Catalans now as a top 4 team at the moment, and definitely a force to be reckoned with. So, can they keep this going? We'll see. Next up, we have Wakefield Trinity at home versus Huddersfield Giants. Starting with the losing team, Wakefield Trinity, they had 44% possession, 9 turnovers and 4 penalties conceded. Their spine included Liam Kay, Lee Gaskell, Mason Leno and Liam Hood. Their top stats, Lee Kershaw had 155 metres, Lewis Murphy had 11 metres per carry, Lee Kershaw had 8 tackle busts, and Jay Whitbread had 56 tackles. The only things that I really can say about Wakefield is that it did appear that this week was a much more intense defensive performance. You know, I mentioned last week that the intensity and the energy and enthusiasm they showed last week against Wigan was basically non-existent. But I clearly saw it today that, you know, they were really trying to scramble in defence, not giving Huddersfield space to, you know, to attack them. You know, they were shutting them down fairly well. To only limit them to 8 points is a tremendous leap from last week. So, huge props to them. The only thing now is to, you know, keep this up. Keep this defensive intensity up and start chipping away at teams and find ways to break them down and get those points on the board. That's just the next step for them. But keep this defensive intensity up. Unfortunately, Lewis Murphy, I believe, is now out for the season, which is really unfortunate for them. But it's an opportunity for someone to step up, be the bright spark for them, and hopefully they go well. But, you know, wish Lewis Murphy a speedy recovery. Unfortunately, it won't be before the end of the season. You know, it's never nice hearing about those, but I wish him well. Moving on to the winning team, the Huddersfield Giants, they had 56% possession, 1 try, 1 conversion, 1 penalty kick, 4 turnovers and 4 penalties conceded. Their spine included Tui Lolohea, Will Price, Theo Farge and Nathan Peets. Try scorer was Joe Greenwood and their goals came from Tui Lolohea with 2. Their man of the match definitely is going to go to Joe Greenwood for me. He had 94 metres, 7th best, 7 metres per carry, tied 3rd, 3 tackle busts, tied 2nd, 21 tackles, 8th, 2 offloads, 2nd, and a try on top of it as well. Strong performance from him. The honourable mention is going to go to Luke Yates. Now, he only had 83 metres, which was only 9th best, 7 metres per carry, tied 3rd, but 45 tackles, first for Huddersfield, and 0 missed tackles. 0. So definitely gets an honourable mention there. For Huddersfield, in attack, they did look pretty clueless. They were just kind of throwing that thing around just for the sake of it. It was like, if you've ever played rugby in high school, in like PE, it's just play the ball, pass it off, run in, and then someone tries to do something where they pass the ball down the line, but there's no lines being run, there's no direction, there's no intention to run a specific play. The ball is just passed down the line, and we'll just see what we can get from it. That's exactly what it felt like for me for Huddersfield. It looked like they ran out of ideas. Now, not to say that they got lucky because they were skillful enough to, you know, get their try kind of off the cuff, but they really do need to improve. In their defence, I will say, well, first of all, they didn't concede any points, so anyone that doesn't concede points is worthy of praise on that front, so fair play to Huddersfield Giants. But I will also say, this is probably technically, I guess you could say, still their pre-season. This is only their second round, they are a round behind. But they've played against a really strong team and a fairly weak team. But next week, they're going to have to really start showing some signs of life. But I'm sure they'll do it. In terms of their squad on paper, it's exceptional. And they've definitely got the quality players to turn things around. So we'll see how they get on. But yeah, finally got their first win. Next up, we have Castleford Tigers at home versus Wigan Warriors. Starting with the losing team, which was Castleford Tigers. Their spine included Niall Evalds, Gareth Widdop, Jacob Miller and Paul McShane. Their top stats were Mahe Fanua with 149 metres, McShane and Matagi with 10 metres per carry, Mahe Fanua with 5 tackle busts and Adam Milner with 39 tackles. Just a few things to say on Castleford before I get into the coaching situation. They looked like bystanders to me. Looked like they just watched everything unfold in front of them, just watched Wigan dance around them, and there was absolutely nothing they could do about it. With the squad that they've got on paper, they should be able to threaten teams with points, like they did against Hull. So I don't really know what's happened to them. But an 0-3 start is never good, but they should be doing better than they have done. And I thought that Leigh Radford would have been good enough to at least challenge Hull, which they did actually. And one thing to keep in mind, which I just remembered, is that they have the toughest schedule of any team in Super League. The opening 5 is the toughest schedule. So I at least would have gone through the first 10 games. You get your 5 games out the way, you get your challenging games out the way, and then you start to maybe pick up some wins after that. But this feels just a little bit too early to me. But Leigh Radford did say that it was about time to go. They were, going in different directions. But in terms of replacements, there's maybe 5 that are realistic, or 4 that are realistic, and 1's an ambitious option. So in terms of the realistic options, at the bottom of the list is probably Willie Poaching. And then Chris Chester, Brett Hodgson, and then Richard Agar. I think they'll probably go for Richard Agar, if I'm honest. Unless they just keep whoever the assistant coach was in charge. I don't know. But if I was in charge of Castleford Tigers, I would give Sean Wayne a call. Now, people will probably laugh at that and say, Sean Wayne's never going to Castleford. He might not. But the way I look at it is, if you don't ask, you don't get. And I think Castleford Tigers fans are kind of tired of mediocrity. 2017 was a standout season, but they've been somewhat mediocre since then. So I think they want next level. And Sean Wayne can provide that. So I would say, just go and ask him. If you don't ask, you don't get. So at least ask. And if not, they'll probably settle for Richard Agar, most likely. It's not a perfect solution, but it might work out. It might be a good fit. We'll see. But it's unfortunate for them. But we'll see how things go for them going forwards. Moving on to the winning team, Wigan Warriors. Their spine included Jay Field, Cade Cust, Harry Smith and Sam Powell. Their try scorers came from Liam Marshall with 3, Jay Field, Toby King and Ethan Havard. All their goals came from Harry Smith, who had 6. Man of the match is 100% going to go to Liam Marshall again. 302 metres, which was first. 22 metres per carry, first. 5 tackle busts, first. And 3 tries. Ridiculous stats. Honourable mention is going to go to Jay Field. He had 85 metres, which was tied 5th. 7 metres per carry, tied 6th. 3 tackle busts, tied 3rd. 2 assists and 1 try. I haven't really mentioned Field much, to be honest, because it's kind of like, I know what he's capable of. I mean, we literally see it every single week. Like, what is there to say, really, about Field that we don't already know? But, definitely worth an honourable mention. What I like about Wigan is, defensively, they show a lot of intensity and they work extremely hard. And then when they have the ball in attack, they work equally as hard and show so much pace that those 3 players at the back are just way too quick. Marshall, Field and French, they're just ridiculous. It's absolutely ridiculous. But they're extremely skillful. And teams just have to just deal with it. Simple as that. Teams have to get on with it and deal with it. They can attack you through the middle. They can easily get around you. Doesn't matter how wide or how many players you've got on one side, how spread out or how, compact everyone is. They find a way to get around you. And, Field's pace allows Wigan to get through. And they look really dangerous from scrums as well. Like, as soon as Harry Smith plays that ball into the scrum, and he loops around the back, and it comes out to him. I know that they're cooking something up here, and it's very likely that they're about to get something on the end of this. So, for me, most dangerous team in Super League. Last 2 games, they're up by 96-0, I believe. I think that's right. 96-0, which is crazy. But fair play to them, they look insane right now. Next up, we have Hull Kingston Rovers at home versus Leigh Leopards. Starting with the losing team, Hull Kingston Rovers, their spine included Will Dagger, Mikey Lewis, Jordan Abdul and Jez Litton. Try scorers were Jordan Abdul, James Batchelor, Sean Kinney-Dowell and Mikey Lewis. Their goals came from Will Dagger with 4 and Jordan Abdul also had a drop goal as well. Top stats, Sean Kinney-Dowell had 118 metres. He also had 8 metres per carry, which was tied first, and 5 tackle busts. And James Batchelor had 38 tackles. For me, Hull Kingston Rovers looked as creative as they have been in the first 2 rounds. It didn't look that different. So, they were still quick out of the ruck, out of dummy half. Quick through the middle. Again, the eye test not looking quick when they spread the ball, but looked effective. Timings were there. Execution was there. They looked as effective as they have done. A little bit like what I said with Wigan from round 1 to round 2. It looked the same, but this time it just, it just clicked. They looked completely fine to me. Jordan Abdul was still in control of everything. Mikey Lewis got more involved. Got himself a try, possibly got himself an assist as well, but they look completely fine. So I don't really have too many negatives to say, but I'll just get on to the Leigh Leopards and their positives. So moving on to the Leigh Leopards, their spine included Gareth O'Brien, Ben Reynolds, Lachlan Lamb and Matt Davis. Their try scorers were Josh Charnley with 2, Tom Briscoe with 2 and Tom Amone. Their goals came from Ben Reynolds, who had 5. Man of the match definitely going to go to Josh Charnley. He had 172 metres, which was first for Leigh. 3 tackle busts, tied third. 2 clean breaks, of which was tied first. 10 metres per carry, which was tied first. And 2 tries, one of which included the winner. Honourable mention is definitely going to go to John Asiata. Now, he had 116 metres, which was third best. 21 carries, which was first. 2 tackle busts, which was tied fourth. And 38 tackles, which was first. So he had 27 carries and 38 tackles, both best for Leigh. Definitely put in a really strong shift there. and definitely working hard for Leigh there. Now, we know Leigh have some quality players, like Hardacre and O'Brien, Lamb, Ipape. They've got great players. It's whether they could put it together, and they finally did. They finally did, and I'm happy for them. Now, the impression I got from this was, okay, you play Salford round 1, an amazing attacking team, and you hold them to 20 points, and you put 10 past them. You lose the game in a respective manner. You come up against the Catalans Dragons, who didn't look all that impressive, but as we now know, is a better team than what I gave them credit for anyway. And then you come up against Hull Kingston Rovers, who are looking like one of the best teams in Super League. And you go toe-to-toe with them. You go back and forth, round for round. And you come up with a win. And the impression I get is they were just tired of losing. They've come up against teams that are extremely strong in Super League and not been that far off. And I just got the feeling that they were just tired of it. And they thought, let's just give it more than we have done. We're not going to leave a pitch. We're not going to leave the pitch unsatisfied after putting in so much effort. We're going to hit another level. Things are going to be executed with a lot more precision, a lot more pace. And that's exactly what they did this time round, especially compared to round 2 and round 1. But I'm really happy for Leigh to get their first win. One thing I do hope for them is that it's not a case where, let's say, for example, Wakefield are looking like the team that's going to go down. There's a chance that Wakefield maybe pick up about 5 or 6 wins this season. What I hope for Leigh is that it's not a case of Wakefield was so bad that that's how Leigh avoided relegation, where Leigh only get 1 or 2 more wins than them. I hope that they get a good handful of wins that puts them mid-table, maybe in the playoff hunt, and get a newly established Super League team. And then we, I don't necessarily want anybody to go down, but if Wakefield go down and then a new Championship team comes up, we start getting a bit more variety. But yeah, I hope that Leigh can continue this from now on. Keep that intensity in attack. They will probably still leak tries from time to time. Still getting used to the pace of it. But in terms of what they can do as a team, is really impressive. They've got some quality players, as I said. But yeah, great for them to get their first win on the board. Finally, we have St Helens at home versus Leeds Rhinos.
Maybe look for a little grubber kick. The ball ricochets and just beats Morgan on the sidelines that he's been ill during the week. Little kick ahead. Alfreds is chasing and across comes Welsby. Grand final. And meanwhile, Sione Matautia has been sent to the sin.
Yards now. Leeds will, I believe, try and move the ball as they do here.
Leeds giving it some width, and Nene McDonald showing a bit of pace here. McDonald's got Myler inside him. Myler is being chased down. Here goes Hanley. Hanley, has he got the step? He certainly has. What a try that is. Tracking now. Lussick! And Joey Lussick has just picked Leeds' pockets.
Lussick's in possession. Thank you. I've seen all the angles I need.
Courtesy of that storming run. Brimsley's winding up, but no, back it comes. Little step from Dodd. Little step. Great try.
It's out. Just settle for it.
What an error. What a calamity. And what a gift that is for Lewis Dodds. Oh, dearie me. And Austin, he can get some height on the ball. Doesn't get great distance on that one. And Caesar is underneath it, and Caesar puts a little kick in, and Reece Martin gathers, and Martin will roll over the line and surely get the try.
And the ball is grounded. Thank you.
And Reece Martin capitalising field on it, goes to Dodd. Dodd to Welsby. Welsby drifts a little kick in. Ooh. Now then, was Sione Matautia held up? Percival, bang.
Pause the ball there. Yes, thank you. I made my decision.
The try is to Myler. Myler. Reece Martin kicks ahead. Across comes Jack Welsby. The ball bounces. And then from this point here, Well, that's quite clearly late. Oh, hang on. Oh, hang on a minute. It's another second
card.
one. Not that one. That one. That's the second one of the game. Jared O'Connor. Big Sam. Lovely ball. Cameron Smith. What a great try from Leeds. What a lovely ball from Big Sam. It's Nene McDonald who manages to get the ball away to Darrell Alfords. Alfords steps past the first. Darrell Alfords comes back across the field. One-handed. Walters. Back it goes. It's picked up by O'Connor. O'Connor to Myler. Myler looking for Martin. Martin skipping back in field. Reece Martin. Martin, has he got the ball down? Martin celebrates his second of the night. No hesitation from the ref. Myler gets the ball to Fusitua. Fusitua comes back in field. There's another late challenge on Myler.
And he's aggressive, he jams. Just catches Richie Myler on the chin.
Oh my word, what an end to this game. They are bang in front of those posts. The ball's back with Blake Austin. Austin with the drop goal.
Starting with the losing team, St Helens, they had 47% possession, 4 tries, 4 conversions, 9 turnovers, 8 penalties conceded, 2 yellow cards and 1 red card. Their spine included Jack Wellesby, Johnny Lomax, Lewis Dodd and Joey Lussick. Their tries came from Mark Percival, Lewis Dodd with 2 and Joey Lussick. All their goals came from Tommy Makinson, who had 4. Unfortunately, the specific player stats haven't been uploaded to the Super League website yet, so I don't have those available to me. If they come up later on in the week, you'll be able to check those out. What I will say, first of all, talking about the sin bins and the red card. The red card looked fair to me. Minimum sin bin, but getting a red card for a shoulder directly to the head is completely understandable, and I don't think too many people can argue with that. When it comes to the 2 sin bins, based on the rules of the game, they are sin bins. There is no questioning that. Based on the rules of the current game, they are sin bins. Based on how they look in general, they're a bit soft. And I can argue that, okay, well, it's not really a sin bin, but based on the rules, they're sin bins. A late tackle into the back of a player twice, based on the rules, constitutes sin bins. Now, in fairness to St Helens, aside from the 3 stints in where they were a man down, they only lost by a point, which just shows how strong they are as a team and how they can still dominate through the middle, still get good field position, still hold teams off and work really strong defensively. Not to take the win away from Leeds, but St Helens not having to deal with, with any of those stints being a man down, probably would have come away with a win here. And they had a strong lead, but they still did lose it, which is on them. Moving on to the Leeds Rhinos, they had 53% possession, 4 tries, 4 conversions, 7 turnovers and 4 penalties conceded. Their spine included Richie Myler, Blake Austin, Aidan Caesar and Jared O'Connor. Their tries came from Reece Martin with 2, Cameron Smith and Ash Handley. Their goals came from Reece Martin, who had 4, and a drop goal from Blake Austin. Man of the match is definitely going to be Reece Martin. He had 138 metres, which was 3rd, 7 metres per carry, which was tied 3rd, 15 tackles, which was 5th, 11 tackle busts, which was 1st, 4 goals and 2 tries. Honourable mention is going to be Ash Handley. He had 209 metres, which was 1st, 12 metres per carry, also 1st, 5 tackle busts, which was 5th, and a try on top of it as well. All I can really say on Leeds is, again, as I said for Warrington against Salford, there's nothing they can do about being a man up. That's just the hand they've been dealt. They're now playing against 12 men. All they can do is get on with it. My biggest concern is, you had 3 stints in which you're up by a man, 3 stints, and you win the game by a point. It's not good enough. It really isn't. Now, if you're a Leeds fan, you take the win. Especially against St Helens, you take the win. And if that was the case for me in Warrington, I would take the win. But in the wider context, as someone who isn't a Leeds fan, they need serious work. It shows the gulf in quality between the two teams. Now, I am happy for Leeds to finally get their first win on the board. and hopefully this gives them some confidence going into next week and the preceding weeks after that. But that's all I can really say on them. Maybe this papered over the cracks a little bit, and maybe going into training this week they'll be a lot happier with the fact that they finally got a win. But letting too many points against 12 men, and it did look like they opened them up a couple times when it was 13-on-13. They spread the ball well. They got some good meters up the pitch, so we'll give them that for sure. Don't want to forget about that. But yeah, hopefully the improvements keep coming and they finally get a win, let's say, on merit. On unquestionable merit, let's say. Just to close things out, looking at the league table, in 12th is Wakefield Trinity, 11th Castleford Tigers, 10th Leeds Rhinos, 9th Salford Red Devils, 8th Leigh Leopards, 7th Huddersfield Giants, 6th St Helens, 5th Wigan Warriors, 4th Hull FC, 3rd Hull Kingston Rovers, 2nd Catalans Dragons, and in 1st place Warrington Wolves. So that's going to be it for this video. If you have any thoughts on any of the matches from the latest round of Super League, let me know in the comments down below. If you enjoyed this video, feel free to leave a like and subscribe to the channel to stay up to date with new content. You can also follow the social media accounts in the description down below. Thank you very much for watching. I'll see you next time.